Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you never run out of content ideas again. My name is Penny, and I am going to be your guide, and I'm actually the developer of this unique content development process. I want to teach you how to create more engaging content, more remarkable content that you want to post online, that you want to share on your sales pages and send out email messages. All of this together that's going to help you reach more qualified customers online. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And when you go and look below in the description box, you will see a couple of links. The first link that you will see is from my book called I Just Did a Thing, where I go into more detail about the science behind why tapping into your creativity helps you with your content creation and helps you reach more customers online. And that second link that you're going to see is so that you can subscribe and personally experience creative activities with the Create Your Business program. And you can go through the process and go through the workbooks, the interactive workbooks that show up in your inbox and the creative tools that show up at your front door, and you can experience what it really feels like to develop remarkable content. So today's video, I want to focus on this idea of turning your brainstorm list into content ideas. And I want to do more than just explain to you how to make a list, how to make a better list, but how to give you some tips to expand your ideas in a way that not only will help you create even more engaging content, but will help you stay consistent with your content strategy plan. And I know that consistency is one of those tough things that a lot of us deal with. So I've shared with you in past videos about this creative process, and I've said throughout the process that the creation of content can get messy. So it's the idea of going into this and knowing that not everything is going to be this linear line and we're going to go here and then here and then here and then here and then we're done. It's about experiencing how you're going to move through it. It's about creating a form of creative problem solving, I guess is the best way I could describe it. And so what I want to do is I'm going to take you through this process. I'm going to take you through the steps of this, and I want to show you how you can take this brainstorm list and turn it into action steps. And so, I'm talking real steps, real things that's going to help you develop your content strategy, not just for this week, but to take you through the rest of this year. So let's get into this brainstorm stuff. And especially what I'm going to talk about today is not just the content, but I want to talk about how this is connected to tapping into your creativity. I'm going to connect point A to point B, and you're going to go, oh yeah, I get it now. So let's talk through this, because doing a brainstorm is more than just writing out a list. What I want you to think about is how you're going to increase the amount of time that you spend every week living in this thing that I refer to as your creative energy. That's what I'm talking about. I want to make sure that when I say creative energy, it also means what I'm talking about, tapping into your creativity. But I like the idea of your creative energy because I know that it's something inside of us that we all have access to. And so what I want to do is I want to find a way so that you can access this, so that you can help you move that brainstorm list into a remarkable content that you're going to be sharing online in your social posts. So I want you to stay with me, especially to the end of this, and I'm going to go through all the tips and the steps, but at the very end, I want to give you a really, really great idea about what you can do to tap into that creative energy and to help you stay consistent with this content process. Because one of the big things that you can do about staying consistent is to have content ideas, to not be sitting there at your desk Monday morning and go, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to be posting this week? It's about knowing. It's about going in with a plan and knowing whether it's for the week or the month or the quarter or whatever you're working on. It's not just sitting there with this brain dump list going, okay, here's all this stuff in my head Now what do I do with it? It's about turning it into actionable steps, actionable growth steps, I guess is a really better way to say this. So when I think about it from this perspective, I want you to take your brain dump list and turn it into something called an idea file. So a brain dump list is just you taking everything out of your head and writing it out on a piece of paper or putting it, on a Google Doc or maybe a productivity app or whatever it is that you use. And then you've got this whole big list and it just kind of sits there and you're not really sure what to do with it. And every now and then you go back to the list and you're like, oh yeah, that was a really good idea. Let me see if I could write a blog post or that. Or I kind of like that one. Maybe I could do some Instagram video series or something like that. But here's what's happening with that brain dump list. That brain dump list is just you reacting because you're looking for something. I want you to turn this list into something called an idea file. Because when your content ideas are the foundation of how you're going to develop your content strategy, it's more than just taking everything out of your head and putting it into a Google Doc someplace and then it's stuck in your laptop, which who knows when you're going to look at again. So that's why these steps that I'm sharing with you aren't just about increasing your creative energy, but it's also going to help you stay organized. It's going to help you take the steps to take action, and it's going to help you stop being so reactive and to help you create this content plan to be proactive. So when you sit down Monday morning what you're supposed to be working on that week. What are you going to be marketing? What are you going to be sharing? What are you going to be posting online? So how does this idea file stuff work? So let's start with the first piece of it. And I'm about to say something that I told you not to do, but it is the first part of it. You start by making a list, but it's not a brain dump list. It's completely separate. This is a list specifically for your content marketing. When we think about this list includes, blog post topics, social media image ideas, videos that you want to record. But what you want to do is when you're creating this list, again, it's not just a whole bunch of stuff that's swirling around in your head. You can start that way. But when you're putting your list together, you want to think about it with a couple of ideas in mind. You want to think about what's its purpose? What's the purpose of that video? What's its purpose behind that blog topic? What's its call to action? All of this is going to be connected to your marketing. How is it connected to your marketing? So when we think about it from that perspective, we want to make sure that we have more than just some idea that's swirling around in our head. So here's an example here. If we want to think about, let's say you want to talk about productivity. So maybe it's productivity for small business owners. So the idea file becomes the title. It's called productivity. And then the list becomes, I could write a blog post about 5 things you could do for productivity. And then I can look at that list and it's coming up with some really great ideas for the social media images that I'm going to post with it on Instagram. And then I could share it on LinkedIn as well. And in this idea file, you also put everything together. You put the video in it. How can you repurpose the video? Can you repurpose the video and run a transcript on it and use that for a blog post? Is this video just to teach them steps, or does it teach them how to implement this? You see the difference between just a brain dump of me just putting stuff together, taking stuff out of my head and putting a list. But what this idea file is it's going to keep it organized, and it keeps it on point with your marketing. And so when you're able to look at everything, you can see the picture as a whole, and you're able to say, okay, so this is what we're working on. This is what we're working towards for our month. This is a product that we're launching. This is a program that I want to be promoting. This is a special that I'm going to be running at the end of this month. How can all of this in my idea file work its way into my marketing messages, and I can actually turn this into something that's going to have people take action, right? So that's where we're going with this right now. I want you to think about it from that perspective. And then the other thing I want you to think about with regards to your idea file is, yes, it is, those steps, the blog posts, the videos, and all of that. But I also want you to think about, so if you're doing this idea file on productivity, I also want you to add in your crazy big ideas. The ones where you're thinking, oh, I could do this great big 6-month productivity program, and then I could do this, and then I can do this, and I will do this with it. I want you to write it all down. Write down every single bit of it in that idea file and keep it all together. Keep this idea file, this productivity idea file, or whatever you're going to call it, because, you'll have one for each type of topic, theme, whatever word you want to refer to it as. You're going to put it all in there. And you want to make sure that you've got the information as well as your crazy ideas. Because here's the thing about crazy ideas. You just never know when there's a tiny little piece of that idea, that jumps out at you. And you're like, I really like the idea of doing this. I was going to sell this thing and do a special offer at the end of the month. But maybe what I could do is do a free workshop based on this video idea that I created and how I could pull all this together. Test it out and see if there's an opportunity for me to get some feedback from other people. So put down the things that you're going to do. Like, I'm going to write a blog post, I'm going to record that video, and this is what we're going to do, and all these things are going to get posted on social media, and here's my image ideas. But I also want you to write down the crazy big ideas. Put it all together, include your taglines, your promo copy, how it's going to connect with your website. All of that. Do you need to put a landing page together? Is this an email sequence? Get it all together. And so when you put it all together, it becomes more tangible in the way that you can actually see how all of these pieces and parts get together, as opposed to just like one idea. Okay, I'm going to post this on Facebook, and then tomorrow I'm going to think about, oh, maybe I should be doing something on Instagram. It becomes this opportunity for you to develop your content plan by actually using this idea file when you've got everything together like this. And when I'm talking about this idea file, you notice I'm not telling you exactly how to set this up. I always say to my clients, and we say in the Create Your Business program, there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's just your way. It's just your way to do your list. If you want to do it digitally, you want to put it in an app. Do you want to do it in a Google Doc? Do you want to just grab out a piece of paper? Do you want to have a pretty printable? Whatever you want to do, it's entirely up to you, because it's your way. And the idea of it is just to make sure that it gets done. That's all I want you to do. I want you to make sure that you work the way that you do so it gets done. Because this purpose of this is it's going to help you stay organized, but it's also going to take all that stuff that's swirling around in your head, and it's going to give you this opportunity that when you see it all together like this, to actually create it in a more very structured way for you to view all of the information, the crazy ideas, the good stuff, and of course, things that you're not going to want to do, but it's going to help you stay organized, right? So the next thing you're going to do with your list is, I want to make sure that, I don't want to say the next thing you're going to do. One of the important things with your list, let me say it like that, is that you are using some sort of good note-taking program. And I want you to use something that works on your computer, and there's also an app on your phone. I know I just said a minute ago, that some people hand things, type things out, and that's great. But I do want you to set up some sort of process or system where you have a note-taking program. And if you do decide to put your idea file into something where you're handwriting, then have your note-taking program be something that you transfer into the overall idea file. Because the idea with this is you want this to be a situation where no matter where you're working, no matter where you are, you can always add in the notes, and they can be accessed on your laptop, or you can pull them up on your phone. And I know there's tons and tons of programs out there. Again, I'm not going into the laundry list of programs that what you can use and what you shouldn't use and da-da-da-da. I personally use Evernote for my content idea files. I love that I can go for a walk and get an idea, and I can stop and pull up the app and type it out on my phone and then just keep going. And then later when I'm working on that blog post or working on my next video, I pull up my Evernote in my computer and I can go straight to those notes that I've written. I know there's programs like Trello if you're a visual person, and there's Monday.com and Asana, and all of these organization project management programs out there. They all have the ability for you to create idea files within them. So take a look at this, because if you are going to be doing something, on a piece of paper where you're going to handwrite it all, you still want to make sure that within your process, within your steps, that you have something, some sort of online note-taking program. So the point behind all of this is, when you're creating these idea files, is that you're capturing all of this information, you're capturing all of your ideas, all your thoughts, and how you're going to organize it and what you're going to be doing. But it also has to be something that you can review your ideas frequently. And what I mean by frequently, it's not that you're going to do a brain dump on January 1st and then you don't open up that Google Doc to, like March 31st. No. You need this to be set up in such a way that you can check it frequently. If it's not something you're doing daily, you definitely want to be looking at this thing several times during your week, because this is going to be one of the best ways that you're going to boost your creativity with your content creation. And to make sure that your idea file becomes an important part of your ongoing strategy, you must be using it. You want to make sure that you're doing more than just writing or typing out your brainstorm ideas, because that's all we end up doing, So let me give you some steps here. So when we've got this note-taking program, we've got our idea file set up, what I want to do is I want to give you a few other tips to help you move through this process and to help you innovate the ideas that are going to come to you in your idea file, and how you can utilize them and implement them into your content marketing strategy. So if we know what we're going to be talking about, and we know that we've got this list, and we're going to take this list and we're going to turn this into action, I want you to take that idea file a little bit further. I want you to push it, because when you start looking through this process, when you start working through it all, it's going to lead you to these answers and ideas, and it's going to help you see more from the potential customers. What are they seeking? What are they looking for help online? How can you help them with your ideas and your content, that they can realize that your program, your product, your service is the solution to what they're currently online looking for? So what you want to do is you want to look at all of the stuff in this idea file. And initially, when you've looked through it all and you're trying to figure out what goes first, what goes next, what should I be using, I want you to think about how you can also expand upon these ideas. I want you to ask yourself what I refer to as open-ended questions. I'm referring to open-ended questions that require more than a yes or no answer. That's what we call close-ended questions. Are you cold? Yes. Are you here? Yes. Are you there? No. That kind of stuff. That's a close-ended question. I want you to think more about how to expand that idea file into something really great, especially those crazy ideas of yours, and ask yourself open-ended question. Because what happens is, if you just use those close-ended questions, you end up with just like a limited amount of options. And you really want to challenge your assumptions about what you initially had written down. So when we talk about open-ended questions, I'm referring to things like asking why. Why would we do this? Why would our customers want this? What if we did this? How could I do this? Where else is this happening? Or where else is this happening within my business? And ask these type of questions with regards to what's going on in your idea file, and just see where that path takes you. So when you're asking yourself these open-ended questions by reviewing what's going on in your idea file, you're going to look and see, how could I do this? How could I write this blog post about productivity and saving time? That's different than what other people are out there. A question like that. That's what I'm referring to when I'm talking about these open-ended questions. Because how could I do this is not a yes or no answer. It requires more than that. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to see how these open-ended questions can lead to this innovative idea about what you could be doing with your content. The idea is to take all of these topics and themes and whatever the word is you want to use that you have posted up in that idea file, and then turn it into something that that will resonate more with your potential customers. So that's the first thing that you're going to do, is ask open-ended question with your idea file. The second thing that I want you to do as you are reviewing your idea file, before you are turning this into your content plan for the week, the month, the quarter, however you organize your content strategy, the second thing I want you to do when you're reviewing your idea file is I want you to suspend your judgment about those ideas. Remember when I asked you to put down those crazy big ideas? The things that you think you can't do, but you might not have time for, but you don't have the money for, and you don't know how to do this, those crazy big ideas, those are the ones I'm talking about. I want you to make sure that you suspend your judgment when you look at these ideas. Don't look at it and go, oh, that's not me. I don't do stuff like that. I don't do videos. I don't like my face on camera. I don't like to hear my voice. All that stuff. When you start judging things like this, you completely shut everything down before you have time to even truly flesh this thing out. Because most of the time, and the science will back me up on this, folks, those initial ideas came to you in what I refer to as raw form. And they need the time to grow and develop. And they could possibly turn into one of your best promotional ideas to promote your business. Something that you could totally get excited behind doing. Something you didn't think that you would do, and then the idea of it, because you didn't just shut it down, you kept on thinking and allowing this process to germinate in your brain into something that could be one of the social media posts that goes viral, or a blog post of yours that ends up closing more sales. So don't shut it down. Don't allow your fears or anxiety about, I don't do this and that's not me, with this initial idea and looking at your idea file like, oh, the whole thing's a waste. I don't want to do any of that. Don't do that. Because when you find yourself going down that path, you're just going to shut it down. I guess I keep saying this over and over again, but when you shut things down, you don't allow something to grow and turn into something that could be absolutely amazing. And so I want you to ask yourself instead, so you're suspending your judgment, and I want you to also think to yourself, why did this idea even come into my head in the first place? Is there a piece of this idea that I can turn into an opportunity for my content strategy? So think about it from that perspective, because when you catch yourself finding fault with your idea, see what you're doing. Know that you are doing this, and you have to say that to yourself. Whoop, I told myself I was going to suspend my judgment. I mean, really, what if I take a look at this? What if I just, I don't know, what would happen if I tried out one piece of the idea? I mean, one step, or spent 15 minutes testing out something like an app on my phone. What would happen if I suspended my judgment on this and I let the idea develop and turn into something really incredible that could help me grow my business? And remind yourself that this thought came to you for a reason. What is the message this thought's trying to send you about what you should be doing with your content strategy? And the last piece of this process, I don't want to say it is the most important. I am going to say the most important, yet the last piece of this process, is to make sure that you do spend some time in your creative energy every single week. It's not just about putting this idea file together and trying to organize it and figure out what you're doing. I want you to expand your time being creative. I want you to turn these ideas that you have that are sitting in your idea file into something, not where you're imitating others online, but you're innovating. because you want it to be closer to how you would, help your customers, how you also show up in your business. So it's connected to all of that. And I always want to remind people that when I'm talking about being creative, I am not referring to just being an artist. I am just asking you to spend time in your creative energy. Spend time in your day to feel happy, to feel joy. And I highly, highly encourage you that when you go to your creative activity, whatever that creative activity is going to be, come there with a question in mind. This is one of the things that I talk with my clients about. And I always say, if there's something that you're struggling with, or you're trying to expand on something in your idea file and you don't know where to go with it, being in this creative space is going to open up that right side of your brain. Everybody's always talking about the right side, left side, but the right side is what's going to open up and new opportunities to flow. And it becomes more than just some brainstorming brain dump list, which is actually working more from the front part of our brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. This is where our decision-making process happens. What we want to do is we want to tap into that right brain stuff, where we're finding ourselves, the left side is that analytic problem solving, and the right brain is the front of our brain is the decision-making. So what we want to do is we want to bring the right brain into the whole thing. We actually, when we do creative activities like this, and we are not just being creative, but we are bringing the question in our mind about something we're struggling with, we're actually bringing all of the parts of our brain together, because the analytical side of the left brain is asking the question and the right brain is opening up to the opportunity. So it's allowing you to basically use your entire brain as you're working through this problem. And so when you're thinking about it, the right, so the left side is like, oh, I'm into the problem solving, I'm trying to figure it out. But then what happens is when we do something creative, our right side gets opened up and it's like, okay, I like that problem, I like what you're talking about, but here's an idea for this. Oh, here's another idea, and here's another idea, and here's another idea, right? So that's the whole process about the tapping into your creativity, finding ways to tap into that right side of your brain. And so for those of you who are about to freak out, thinking I'm going to tell you to pick up a paintbrush or write the next great novel, let me share with you one of the easiest ways for you to spend time in your creative energy. So listen to this. One of the best creative activities that you can do is when you are working, go to a new place. Go to a new coffee shop. Go to a new spot in town that you've been driving past that you always were curious what it was like. When you feel yourself getting stuck, going someplace new to work is going to trigger that right side of our brain. It's about being in a new space, listening and watching the interaction about what's going on around you, seeing something different, just even something different on the wall, the different pictures, the way that they've got the room set up is going to be completely different than the coffee shop that you always go to every single time. And most of the time, if you're going there time and time again, you've probably blocked out everything around you just so you can get to work. Because listen, here's the thing. Studies show that you can boost your creativity by changing your location. And I'm not just talking about, just a coffee shop. I mean, think about how you can shake up your routine by working in a new location. Even if that means you're moving your laptop from your home office into the coffee table in your living room. That's changing your location too. Or even moving your laptop out on the back porch. That's changing your location. It's about bringing in new stimulus in all ways, visually, hearing, smells, the whole thing, even, depending upon where you're sitting, the feel of it. And so all of those things, when they change your environment, improves your ability to uncover innovative ideas for your marketing. This change of scenery is not only just removing distractions from your usual workspace, but it puts your brain into that creative space that's going to spark these new ideas. So go into this new place with this question in mind. Go into this place with an idea about where you're struggling with. Go to that new place, order something different than your usual drink. Let the unique, there's going to be different people around you. and see what if that inspires you out of your usual, right out of your box of ideas. I'm telling you, folks, this creative activity allows you to take a break from your usual work environment and try out something new that you've been thinking about every time you drive by. Or even just to move, like I said, to a different part of your house. I'm telling you, all of your senses combined will come in together, and you will be surprised about how much making a change in your work location can lead you to new places in developing your content creation. Because when it comes to this idea file, and when it comes to organizing your content and staying consistent with it, you need to do something other than just sitting there in front of your laptop and thinking over and over again in that left brain side trying to solve this problem. Because trust me when I tell you that when you engage your creative energy, your inspiration will find its way to you. Thank you so much for joining me today on this creative journey. If you've enjoyed this content about creativity, I hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel. And if you're ready to dig in and do the deep work of developing your content marketing strategy, the link is below to subscribe to the Create Your Business program. You'll stop saying, I'm stuck and I don't know what to do with my marketing messages, and you will start believing that you do know what to do and you can come up with marketing messages and see results. You are magnificent, my friend, and let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.